Hello to all my friends, family, and frenemies out there. It's your girl, Dr. Shonna, and I am going to cover some things today in the news that I think is worthy of conversation. So, the first thing we're going to talk about today is the non citizens in America who have been given the right to vote. We're going to talk in detail about that. We're also going to talk about um, the abortion ban in Texas. We're going to talk about the abortion ban and what we need to know about that and what we should be paying attention to as it relates to the abortion ban. And we're going to talk about vaccine mandates and what's going on with that. And last but not least, I'm going to break into some very specific news that is concerning of the Black community. Now, is it concerning for me? No, but I know that is going to be concerning for some of you guys. And we need to have this conversation because we're going to have to talk about certain things under the framework of the Constitution. And I know a lot of us don't like to pay attention to the Constitution, but that is quite dangerous. And what's happening right now in our society is proven to be quite dangerous when you don't pay attention to the Constitution. So we're going to talk about our freedom and how it isn't free and what we actually have to put up or give up to deal with freedoms in this country. So, welcome to everybody. Before we get started, I want you guys to go ahead and hit the subscribe button to this channel on YouTube. Follow me on Facebook and also smash the likes button. Give me thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. I really do appreciate that from every last one of you guys. I know it is morning time, and I know that you guys are not accustomed to seeing me at morning time, but by the time my day gets going, I don't have time for anybody. So I decided to come on this morning. Let's get to talking. Yes. So let's talk about what's going on with the non citizens and the rights that have been given to them. Now, some of you guys may know and may not know that in order to vote, you have to be a citizen. Allegedly. Allegedly, that is. But New York City does things however they want to do it. New York City does whatever they want to do. And New York City is invincible. They are untouchable. So whatever New York City decides to do, who gonna check them, boo? Who gonna check them? So let's talk about New York City. First of all, this is why it matters. This is why it matters, especially to my brothers and sisters, because y'all don't seem to click when it comes to politics. And I say it over and over again. I'm starting to watch what's going on in this here society in today's world, right? Because we're making history and we don't even realize that history is being made. Or should I say, history is being made on some of us, and the rest of us are sleeping until they see how their lives are impacted, and then they start getting upset. So we're going to talk about a couple of things here. First of all, New York City, non-citizens have the right to vote now. So in New York, they have granted permission to approximately 800,000 non-citizens, giving them the right to vote in the mayoral elections. They can vote for mayor. They can vote for attorney general. They can vote for comptroller. They can vote for the borough presidents, and they can vote for city council members. Let me say that again, because I don't know if y'all see how important this is, right? So I'm going to go over the categories again shortly. I don't have a lot of time to be here. I got to be going in 50 minutes, so y'all going to have to bear with me. They are now 800,000 non-citizens in New York City can now vote for who's going to be the mayor of New York, who is going to be the attorney general. The attorney general. Y'all do know who the attorney general is, right? Comptroller. Comptroller. Y'all do know what a comptroller is, right? Borough president. And last but not least, city council members. Who decided upon that? That's right. That's right. I'm going to have to put this statement up here. Who decided that? You see, we keep having these conversations about Democrats versus Republicans. We keep having these conversations. And when I have conversations like this within my community, I hear my community members say all the time, neither one of them matters. I don't give a freak. And not that you guys are wrong. I'm not saying you guys are wrong. But just because you don't give a freak, and just because neither of it matters to you, and just because, unless there's tangibles, nothing else matters, just because those things may be true to some of us, right? It doesn't mean we're not impacted when these kind of laws happen. So then we wonder why things start to happen to our community, or things starts to happen to us. And then we want to get upset, we want to get angry, and then we want to turn around and run to a system that we turned our backs on, right? We're going to talk about this. You got to understand that these people, these 800,000 non-citizens, only have to be in America for 30 days. In New York City, 30 days. In America, 30 days in order for them to vote. The Democratic Party, I had to pause right there for just a second. The Democratic Party think that they're doing something strategic to help their party. Now, I had to scratch my head about this because I know they're saying, you have to have government representation in order to have taxation. And I know that they're saying that some of these people, these 800,000 non-citizens that they're speaking to, are speaking about, these are the citizens that hold green cards, work permits, et cetera, giving them permission to be here, and they're getting taxed. So when they're working, they have to pay taxes. So they're saying if they have to pay taxes, then they should have a right to vote in local elections. So I have to scratch my head and I have to say, what's really going on here? What is the underlying agenda here? Because I always talk to you, brothers and sisters, about being critical in our thought process. Some of y'all just want to follow what's popping off that's going to make y'all angry. And I say this all the time, and I'm not going to stop saying it. But we have to move away from just simply following information out there, news out there that's going to get us emotional and make us angry, because being emotional and being angry is not going to change the laws for you. Being emotional and being angry is not going to stop things from happening from you. Being emotional and being angry is not going to aid you in your pursuit to happiness. Somebody said, Dr. Shonna, the scheme will fire quickly. And I'm not in disagreement with you, but we're going to talk about that. But of course, people that understand our life, our liberty, and our right to freedom are on it. Now, do I see enough of our people on it? No. I'll tell you what I see our people doing. Yeah, we're going to have this race talk. That's what this channel is about. And people don't like it, you can go somewhere else. We're going to have this race talk. Let me tell you what our people are doing. We're too busy being busy about shit don't matter. Shit that don't matter. We're too busy being busy about shit that don't matter. But here it is. People that understand our right to freedom, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, they understand the Constitutional Bill of Rights. These people are jumping on it because they're saying we're not going to play these kind of games. We're not going to start giving non-citizens the right to vote. We're not going to do that. I know your scheme. I know your scam, Mr. Democrat or the Democratic Party. We know what you're trying to do. That's not going to work with us. And they're jumping on it. They're jumping on it. But I don't hear enough of us talking about it. Why? Why aren't we talking about? Do you know the number one non-citizen category in New York City? Do you know who that is? Who that is? The number one category in New York City of non-citizens are Dominicans. Are Dominicans. So let's talk about this for a second, and then I'm moving on. Why does this matter? Why does it matter? Like if people start to push into the voting arena who did not have citizenships, do you think they're going to start voting for things that do not serve them? Do you think they're going to start voting for things that cannot help them in whatever their goals are and whatever their visions are? Now, Mayor de Blasio says he feels allowing this to happen will stop people from pushing towards citizenship. It doesn't give them an incentive to become citizens. So these people are not citizens. These people still hold their citizenship in their country where they can vote at. We cannot go to their country to vote. We cannot go up in their country and decide that we're going to vote and we're going to start changing things. We can't collectively go over there, start taking residency up in their country, coming in numbers, right? We can't do that. And then start taking over their voting so we can start shifting rules and laws in our favor. We can't start doing that. We can't start doing that. We cannot start doing that. So when they get into these positions, mayor, do you guys know the role of the mayor? Attorney general, comptroller, borough president, and city council members. You see, we can't have this mindset. Let me put this out there. I'm gonna put this up there. And I'm only using this, Bernice, as a teachable moment. Just give me a second, Bernice. Teachable moment. The voting system is a fraud anyways. Okay. I'm not saying that's not true. We've seen a lot of fraudulent things happen, right? So a lot of us can arrive to that conclusion. But are you saying because it's a fraud, you're not going to participate in it? And you're just going to allow laws that will impact you to impact you? That's all I'm asking. I'm asking that question. It is not about picking on you. It is not about, I mean, just as long as we all stay respectful, because y'all know how I get down. You get disrespectful, you see the Aquarius and Sagittarius come out of me quick fast. Somebody had to be right. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to be good this morning early to have to cuss somebody out. I'm just saying, be respectful. I'll be respectful. But I'm just saying, that's the mindset that a lot of us have. And we wonder why these kind of things can happen. We wonder why this is dangerous. This is dangerous for so many reasons. Because we don't seem to understand what happens in our local government has the greatest effect on us. What happens in our local government has the greatest effect on us. Some of them understand. See, let me say this and I'm moving on. I promise this is the last comment I'm making on this and I'm moving on. Let me tell you something that I've learned about non-citizens. This is not to get at non-citizens. I'm just an observation. I'm a social work researcher. I pay attention to things that is affecting us as humans, things that cause us to react to certain situations. That's what I pay attention to. Yes, my specialty is in couples and relationships. It's all about relationships. That's what my specialty is. Because of that, I study people, right? I study a lot of people. I watch how they move. I watch what they do. I read research on them. I do it. So let's really talk about this for just a second. Non-citizens understand what it means to pursue life, liberty, and a pursuit of happiness. Non-citizens, I'm gonna say this again. So I know some of y'all don't seem to get it because we like life, liberty, and entertainment, the pursuit of entertainment. I'm not trying to be funny, I'm just trying to be real. They understand what that means to pursue life, liberty, and their pursuit of happiness. And they also understand that shit ain't free. It ain't free. So they understand that they got to pull their monies together. They got to do certain things. They got to get people to write certain laws for them. They got to politic with certain people. They got to kiss a couple of asses. They got to get themselves in the door in order to make things happen for them. And they're doing just that. They're doing just that. As we sitting up here and we're and being entertained and we're arguing about the same stuff over and over and over and over again. They're organizing. They're organizing, they're strategizing, they're getting their people together. I've seen that happen in my town I just moved from. When I moved to Fort Lee, New Jersey, Fort Lee wasn't what it is right now. And I watched Koreans and other Asians, but primarily Koreans, coming to Fort Lee, New Jersey, and I watched them take over not only the businesses, not only the real estate, but also the government, the council. I've seen them do it. And once they did that, a lot of things that were on the books, they started to overturn so that it can fit their criteria, so that it can fit their agenda. And we sitting down thinking this shit is not serious. Some of us see this shit in the newspaper and we just pass over it. Do you know what this is going to do to you? I only ask for us to be critical in our thinking. I only ask for us to stop and think about certain things critically. I only ask for us to ask ourselves, what is it going to cost, or what is it going to take in order for us to have the freedoms that we're asking for? I see a lot about freedoms. We're talking about freedoms, we're fighting, and these things, we got to fight for these things. But that's all we're doing is fighting. That's all we're doing is fighting. You know where your fight has to be? Your fight has to be in Congress. That's where your fight has to be. Your fight has to be with your mayor. Your fight has to be with your attorney general. Your fight has to be with your comptroller. Your fight has to be with your city council members. That's where your fight ought to be at. And little by little, our liberties are being taken away from us in plain sight. And don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. I know you love your Democratic Party. Don't be fooled. But your Democratic Party is the ones that are causing a lot of these things to happen. And some of the people in your Democratic Party that is causing a lot of these things to happen look just like you. We're going to get into that. We're going to get into that a little later. As a matter of fact, let's get into that now. Let's go over to Black political news real quick. Let's get into that now, and then we come back to the other thing. So I asked myself a few questions. I want to lay out the questions here. I'm not going to go into all of them, right? But I'm going to lay out some of the questions I was asking myself here. And I want to know if you guys are asking yourself these questions as well. And if you're not, maybe you need to start asking yourself these questions so we can at least engage in some type of intellectual conversations about these things so we can start taking action. The action that actually matters. The protesting, cool, no problem. You have a right to protest, peaceful protest. You have a right to that stuff, right? We all do. Don't go storming the Capitol. Don't start destroying shit. Well, I got to say that because I'm online. I got to say that because I'm online. You know, my channel is being shadow boxed. You look at my views drop dramatically. So I got to say certain things, right? We don't have a right to destroy property, right? But let's talk about political rules. This is what I asked myself. Where do Blacks fit in politically? Where do we fit in? Are we just simply pawns in this political game? Are we loud in certain areas to help other people, but not really to help ourselves? I'm just asking some questions. That's all I'm doing is asking some questions. I'm not making any statements. I'm not making any allegations. I'm just asking some questions. I want y'all to think about it. What do we believe and think about Democrats? Do we really believe that they are the party for us? And I'm not saying they are not. I'm not saying they are. I'm asking you guys questions. These are the kind of questions we should be asking ourselves. Where do our views lie? When it comes to us as a people, where do our views mainly lie? What do we really think about the Democratic Party? What are our values? What are the things that we value in life? Because we're talking about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We got to know what we value in life. What are our values? I want to ask those questions. What are our values? Because as long as we're in this country, we are going to be impacted legally. So I want to ask you guys a question. What are our values? What values do we hold? I know everyone has different values, but I'm talking about as a collective. Like even in the, let's say, the Asian population, they all may have different values and beliefs, right? But collectively, a lot of their values are conservative. If you really think about it, collectively. I'm asking us, what are our values? Where do we really align? Are we more progressive and liberal? Do we want the things that the progressives and liberals are bringing into our lives and in our communities? Or are we more conservative? Do we want to hold true to our spiritual beliefs, our family values? I mean, what is it? I'm just asking a question. I'm not telling you guys to choose a party because y'all know how I get down. I ain't telling y'all to choose a party. I'm asking you a question. We could say all these things, and I'm not saying we're wrong. I'm not saying we're right. Like the bilateral system is dead. Yeah. But as long as it's here, it will impact you. We can choose not to vote, but as long as we are here, we will be impacted. I'm not telling you guys what to do. I'm just asking questions. Frank Littlejohn says, I think Black folks are moderate. What does that mean, Frank Littlejohn? What does that mean? Right? We want to be left alone, freedom in government. You will be impacted. You'll be left alone, all right? I agree. I don't think we should be politically loyal, but I do think that we have to know what our values are and where we align. Because a lot of decisions that we're making collectively as a whole, I'm not talking about those of us that veer off the path, right? But I'm saying we keep nominating these people into the chairs. We, as a people, we keep nominating them into the chair. We are doing it. But are we thinking about the impact it is having on our community that we constantly keep doing the same thing that is hurting us? Are we thinking about the impact it is having in our communities? Are we thinking about where it is leaving us? What are we getting out of the deal? Are we thinking about those things? Are we thinking about which party? This is my last question that I ask myself. Which party aligns with our values? Let's talk about AB 979. Y'all heard about that law? I believe it's in where's this law at? AB 979. Is that California? AB 979. Do y'all know who Dr. Shirley Weber is in California? Do y'all know she a Black woman? AB 979. That is the quota law that's out there, right? That bill on quotas about boards. Boards have to have members of underrepresented communities, race related, ethnicity related, sexual orientation. They have to have a certain amount of these people on their boards, right? So we already know this role. Where a lot of us, aka affirmative action, a lot of us are familiar with this role. But do we sit back? Do we sit back and think about, will this serve us? Will it? Will it serve us? We write these things in hopes that it's going to serve us. But when the people start getting appointed to these positions, to these boards, et cetera, Who do these people look like? Do they look like us? Do they look like us? Right? But yet, Dr. Shirley Weber pushes this law. She's watching it to make sure they are aligning. So if you only have to appoint but so many people from these underrepresented groups, how do you know that your face, your people going to be represented? Especially if you're in an area that has a lot of non-citizens that live in there, and they have somebody on the board that represents the non-citizens, and the non-citizens ain't you. The non-citizens ain't you. But we start voting for these people because we think because they look like us, they're gonna have our best interests in heart. And they're not really playing chess. They're not really playing chess. They're doing what their constituents around them do because they hang out with certain people that influence their thought process and their behaviors, and they act it out in such a way. So we're getting people on boards because they have a quota to meet, but the people don't look like us. And guess what? If you have to have women on your board, you have to have somebody who's gay on your board, and you have to have somebody from an underrepresented group. You only have to have a female LGBTQ Hispanic, and you meet the quota. I'm just trying to say. You meet the quota. So are we really critically thinking about these things? Are we just putting these bills out there and we just going for? Well, let's talk about SB 826. That's similar to the AB 979, where that one talks about female board members. Who's going to be the women on the board? Are they going to look like us? Because you know you can't do that. You can't say black women on the board. You have to have it blanket. It sounds great in theory. It sounds really great in theory, but what does that shit look like in practice? Does it really change our situation? Does it really position us in better? Does it really make it easier for us? Does it? Well, what about the Texas law? Texas SB 8. Do y'all know about Texas 8B8? And then I'm moving on to the next topic. The Texas SB 8 bans abortion after 6 weeks. After 6 weeks. Who is that going to impact? Who is that going to impact? You know what happens if you get an abortion after 6 weeks? Somebody performs an abortion after 6 weeks. Aiding and abetting. You get sued. So if you drive your 16-year-old daughter, and listen, I'm not here to say whether it's right or wrong. I just want to put these things out there so we can critically think. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but it's strategic. I'm going to show you how it's strategic. It's very strategic. Very strategic. Because you know we have Roe versus Wade, and y'all know about that, right? You understand about that. And you understand about the 14th Amendment and how Roe versus Wade was able to come into existence, right? Has to do with the 14th Amendment, and that's our right to privacy. You understand that, right? Y'all do understand that. I know some of y'all don't, y'all missed that part. Y'all missed that part in school. So we're not going to get into it in detail, but maybe y'all got to think about that kind of stuff, right? Maybe you got to go back and think about that kind of stuff. So now, what they basically are saying, family, listen to me clearly. What they are basically saying is, we understand Roe versus Wade is in existence, and it talks about the right to privacy, but it also has a little clause in there that says that they can't basically tell you in terms of what time frame in your pregnancy that this will apply to and what it isn't. So they scaled it all the way back to 6 weeks. And they said that anyone participates in the abortion in this state, you're going to be sued. So that means if your 16-year-old daughter gets pregnant, and y'all know whatever your situation is, y'all decide, right to your privacy, not mine, y'all decide to go ahead and have an abortion. And you get in the car and you driving your daughter to an abortion clinic and you get caught. Somebody rats you out. You can get sued. The doctor performs an abortion after 6 weeks, he can get sued. Anybody who has information about that shit, you can get sued. I think that's very strategic. I think it's very strategic. You got to understand how they're working about that. Rape cases don't matter. Somebody's asking, what about rape cases? Rape cases don't matter. It doesn't matter. As long as it's a heartbeat, doesn't matter. Now, like I said, I'm not here to say whether it's right or wrong. I mind my business in that area because I understand how some of these laws come into fruition, especially when you think about our Constitution. I understand how some of these laws come into fruition. So I mind my business in that area. People make their personal choices all the time, right? And one person that's doing that, having an abortion, is no worse than somebody else killing someone else, right? So I try to just mind my business. People get to do what they want to do, and the laws will govern them. Laws will punish them. Whatever the case is, it's none of my business. You understand what I'm trying to say? But the law, passing certain laws, is my business because it starts to get a little bit murky. Once these laws get in the books and once you have it there, you can create other cases. You can start to do other things on that. And that's where I start to sit back like, whoa, shit, what else is going to come? But if we're not paying attention to these things, and we don't even care about these things, and we're not voting on these things, these things don't usually come up in your federal elections. These things come in your local elections. Your local elections is where this stuff is at. And if we're not paying attention to these kind of things, see, we're reading these laws and we're saying we're only voting on just this law. Just this law. You're not just voting on that law. You're voting on a law that can open up to other laws. And when you go into that voting poll, you have to go into that poll being prudent. You have to go into that voting poll being critical in your thought process. When you vote on a law, you also vote on the possibility of other laws coming into fruition. And that is something y'all need to really take heed to. Let me give you an example of what I mean, and then I'm moving on to the last topic. Let's talk about real quick. We're going to talk about Governor Newsom. Y'all know who Governor Newsom is? You probably don't. You fucking probably don't. You should. You probably don't. But he said, this is not a bad thing. He said, I can see how I can use this law. I can see how now I can take this law and I can use it when it comes to gun laws. Now, I'm not saying he's right. I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm not having a position that I'm talking about on air with any of this stuff. I'm just presenting shit to you guys. And you guys can decide what to do with it and decide how you're going to process this information. But Governor Newsom said this is a great thing. Because in order for me to get assault weapons off the street, if someone sells, buys it, distributes it, manufacturers, guess what we're going to do? We're going to find the manufacturers. We're going to find the distributors. We're going to allow citizens, American citizens. This is what the law is doing. The law is allowing American citizens to sue these people. Not the government, not the federal government, because they're real slick. They understand the limitations of government because of the Constitutional Bill of Rights. They understand the limitations of government, but they put it on the people now. The citizens can go in and sue. The citizens, you and I. Y'all really thinking about this shit? Y'all really thinking about this? So let me tell you something. See, this is what I'm talking about. Now, Lorraine, I'm not using this to get at you, Lorraine. I'm using this as a teachable moment. Lorraine says gun laws only affect legal gun owners. I want to read to you guys a paragraph. See, because I don't think a lot of you guys are getting the premise of my communication. So maybe I gotta take it down. I gotta take it down for just a moment because y'all not getting the premise of my communication. This is about rights. This is about freedoms. All the stuff, all the stuff that is being presented, y'all missing the point. Is a smoke screen, is a distraction. We're talking about rights. We got to stop this, man. We got to really think about these things and we got to critically unpack these things. This is why we're suffering as a community. We look at it like, oh, well, they ain't me. Okay, here I am. Sorry about that, guys. So that's what we're doing. We're like, oh, well, that ain't me. We're not thinking about when you start playing around with laws, when you start changing things, we're not thinking about how that actually impacts all of our asses. We're not thinking about that. It's our emotion that leads us to say some of the stuff that we're saying. Oh, well. Oh, well. I just want you to think about that for a second. Let me go ahead to the next one because I got to get out of here. Let's go on to the next one. Let's talk about these mandates. Let's talk about these mandates. I told you I wasn't going to go deep today. I'm just giving you guys something to think about today. Right? Because that ain't me. Well, you know what? Do this. Abortions kills babies. Yeah, they do. It surely does. I'm not saying you're wrong, but you got to elevate your thinking. You got to think differently. When you can go in and start manipulating laws and being strategic about certain things, when you can go ahead and do that, you set the precedent for other laws and other things to be manipulated and other things to be changed. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm saying we have to sit back and critically think, is this the thing that we want to change? Is this the thing right here we want to change? And we got to sit down on the chessboard and we got to play it all out and say, we change this, what else can happen? If we change this, what else can be affected? Would this help me or hurt me? Let's go on to COVID news. So, what can y'all expect for Christmas? I know some of y'all celebrate Christmas, and the government is already telling you how you can celebrate Christmas, right? The government is already telling you. The Surgeon General says, you know something, you have to have 3 shots or more. And whether you have 3 shots or more or not, you have to wear a mask indoors when you are around your family members. Okay, sounds cool. No problem. That sounds cool. Everyone's going to gather with their mask on. I get it. I'm not upset with it. Then Dr. Fauci comes along and he says, better yet. It's Dr. Fauci. We got to get a name for Dr. We got Bitler for Biden. We need a name for Dr. Fauci. But Dr. Fauci, he comes along, he says, no. Better yet. Before you even let anybody in your house, they should prove that they are fully vaccinated to enter your home. They should not come into your home unless they are fully vaccinated. So I know some of y'all gonna be like, that's right, that's right. I want everybody to have vaccination come to my home. Even though people that are vaccinated still walk around with the virus, right? But nonetheless, and then he says, but I want you to know the meaning of fully vaccinated is about to change, pending these lawsuits challenging the mandate. Because there's a lot of lawsuits out there challenging the mandates, and some of them are being halted, right? We just waiting for this shit to fall because it's going to fall. But he's saying, we want you to know that once these laws are already done and we start moving forward, it's going to change. The fully vaccinated status will change. 2 shots will not have you fully vaccinated. 3 shots ain't going to have you fully vaccinated. They're going to keep moving the marker. So you have to expect, according to Dr. Fauci, that there are going to be multiple boosters on the horizon. So every time you think you're fully vaccinated, they're going to let you know you're not. So what is that going to do for families? What is that going to do for families? I'll tell you what's going to do for my family. I'm going to tell you exactly. I ain't fucking with people. I don't care. You ain't got to come into my lovely home. Stay your ass outside. I'm good. Don't worry. I got my undergrounders. We all good. We all know our statuses. I'd rather have a negative test than to bank on a vaccine. I'm just saying, in my opinion, I'd rather have a negative test than to bank on the vaccines. But I want to make something very clear here. As I said it before, I'm going to say it again. I am not anti-vaccine. I'm anti-fucking with my rights and my freedoms. That's what I am. And I got to make that very clear. I'm anti the government telling me what I can and cannot do when it takes away my rights and my freedoms. I'm anti that. Now, I'm not anti-government per se, but I'm anti-abusive government. I want to make that very clear. You know what else is happening? When it comes to those people who have chosen not to get the vaccine, whether you have natural immunity or you've never had COVID, period, you know what's happening in Nevada? Y'all heard what's happening in Nevada? See, this is why y'all got to pay attention to some of this shit, because this sounds like boring news to a lot of people. But you got to pay attention to the shit because it's boring now until it hits your door. It's boring now. It ain't interesting until it hits your motherfucking door. And then it's going to be very interesting when your ass, like the people in Nevada, come 2022, when they have to pay a fee for not having a vaccine. When money starts coming out their goddamn check for being unvaccinated. See, y'all think this shit is funny. This shit is not funny and it ain't boring. In Nevada, they decided that they are going to tax those individual and families, 2 different taxes. If you are individual on a payroll, you're gonna have one mandate fee. You're gonna have a fee that you're gonna have to pay. If your family is covered, if your family's covered on your plan and you're an employee, you're gonna have a family fee you're gonna have to pay. In Nevada, this is right here in the United States of America, right here in the 50 states, Nevada. You know why? Because they said weekly testing is getting expensive. And if we make you pay a surcharge, a fee, it's going to offset the expenses that we have to incur because the mandate says get vaccinated or undergo weekly testing. This is what they said. Get vaccinated or undergo weekly. This is what I mean when I say we got to pay attention to the bigger effect of how everything impacts us. We got to think critically. If we say get vaccinated or submit to weekly testing, did we really think about the fee? Did we really think about that cost? And now that the cost is hitting them, they say, oh, we got to offset this cost. Because now we can't go back and change it. We already said this. We got to offset. You know what we're going to do now? We're just going to surcharge them because we're going to make them get vaccinated. Oh, hell, vaccinations. Oh, hell. Now, I don't want to be funny. I don't want to be funny because I know I've been following the studies. I've been looking at the real studies, not the fucking blogs and the news, the real medical studies. And I've been reading them and I've been following them. And so we know that in a lot of people, the vaccination has prevented severe illnesses and in some cases death for the 1% of the people that's getting hit. Right. I just thank the mighty creator. I was part of the 99%. Thank you, COVID God. Right? So I understand that. So I'm not saying I'm anti-vaccine. Like I said before, if I had a certain health and I knew I had underlying conditions and shit like that, maybe I might be a little bit nervous. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know. But that's not me. Nonetheless, everyone is, oh, vaccine, get the vaccine, get the vaccine, get the vaccine. The cruise line, because I know some of y'all want to take cruises, right? I had my cruise planned for 2, 3 years now. Keeps getting pushed back until I say, get my motherfucking money back. I ain't playing with y'all. But the cruise line, Norwegian, y'all heard what happened to the Norwegian? You heard what happened on the Norwegian? I gotta go, guys. I got 5 minutes and I'm out. Okay? Let me say what happened on Norwegian. So if you cruising, in order for you to get on a cruise, you have to be fully vaccinated. Fully vaccinated. So everybody, the passengers and the staff, must be fully vaccinated. So everybody, all 3,200 passengers and staff are fully vaccinated, excited to be cruising out of New Orleans. Woohoo! Vacation, vacation. We're vaccinated. We're better than everybody else. We can go on a cruise. We could do this. We could do that. Aha, you can't do it. We could do it. Ha 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 ha. Because you ain't got a vaccine. We dope. And it was an outbreak. A COVID outbreak. During the cruise, 12 people tested positive. And out those 12 original people, 12 original people test positive. One of them had Omicron. The passengers was forced to quarantine. They're sitting on a boat, docked, back in New Orleans. Can't get the fuck off. You can't get off. So they tested more people. 10 more, 10 more tested positive. And everyone has to be tested in quarantine before they can get off the boat. Did someone think these mandates through? I said that's all I needed to know. You fully vaccinated people, I prefer not to be around you. I know I got natural immunity, but baby, I prefer not to be around you. That's okay. I'll pass. Run me my check back. Run me that check back I gave you 3 years ago. Run that shit back. We ain't doing this. I got to acting crazy. Y'all know how I can get, right? Smart as a button, smart as a whipper. I'll cuss your ass out quick. Got to acting crazy. Guess what I got back? My money. Run me my shit back. But do we really think about these things? Do we really think about these mandates? Are we really thinking about these laws? Are we really thinking about these things that are impacting us? Do we really think about how this shit is going to affect us in the long run? Right now, this is history being made. And depending on how this shit go in court, it will be determining what we will and will not be up against in the future. So I say this to say I'm gonna drive home. Let me talk to my people for a minute. Let me talk to my people, then I'm out of here. I got 2 minutes, I gotta be out of here. I say this to drive this home. We are participating in some of this madness. When you make these decisions to vote for certain things, you're participating in some of this madness. When you put people in a chair that look like you and you really don't know what they're about, you really don't know their history, you just want to vote for somebody who's black. That's all you want to vote for. That's your mindset. That's your fucking mindset. When you think like that, you are the ones that's participating in this. Some of the people that I'm talking to right now, you participated in this. You helped to cause this to fucking happen from not being critical in your thought process. This falls on you. This falls on you. Your liberties are being stripped from you. It falls on you. So I leave you guys with this because some of you guys are not going to really think about the Constitution. I'm just going to read a little bit of something to you and I'm be out. You have to remind yourself of this. Remind yourself of your life, liberty, and your pursuit of happiness. And here's a portion of the Constitution. I'm gonna say this and I'm gone. It says, we hold these truths to be self-evident that all, not some men, not non-citizens, not LGBTQ, not just black, not just white, all men are created equal. Only if you fight for it. Only if you fight for your equality for you to be equal, right? I'm just saying. That they are endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Why do we have government, people? Why do we have government? Government is instituted by the people. Government is instituted by the governed. And we gave consent to secure our rights. We gave consent to form government to secure our rights. But what are the rights that we gave up? What rights did we give up for the greater cause? I doubt we gave up the right to pursue life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I doubt we gave that shit up. So these things that's happening, how is it impacting your life, your liberty, and your pursuit of happiness? It's been fucking with mine. I don't know about you, but it's been really fucking with mine. You trying to force me to do something so I can pursue my happiness? I'm not beat for that. I'm not beat for it. Now I understand that we got a lot of work to do as people, as a community. We got a lot of work to do. But if we don't do that work with the Constitution and the laws in mind, we're just blowing hot air. We're just blowing smokes. We're just angry. We're just emotional. When you move in this way, see, I got to say this and I'm going, guys. Okay, I'm 2 minutes late. I got to go. I'm going to say this and I'm out. Y'all go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the like, hit the follow. Thank you so much for all the donations I get. I appreciate that for you guys. Support the channel, support me. I love every last one of you guys. I'm going to say this and I'm here. When you look at everything that's been happening, I want you to start to ask yourself, who are the people that are positioning these bills? Who are the people that are putting them together? Who are the people that are fighting for the things? Who are the people who are challenging these laws? Who are the people that's fighting these laws? Who are these people? Who do they predominantly look like? Who's showing up? Who's challenging the laws? Who's following the lawsuits? Who's doing these things? And why are they doing it? Why? That's where our understanding has to lie. We want certain things to happen for us. We have to understand that your freedom ain't free. It's going to cost you to come out your fucking pocket. It's going to cost you to hire attorneys. It's going to cost you to hire people that know how to draft these bills. It's going to cost you a lot to get into Congress to be heard. Your freedom is not free. In order for you to get the freedoms, the life and the liberty you're looking for, the happiness you're looking for, you got to have some motherfucking checks behind it. You got to have some zeros behind it. You got to have some decimals behind it. So I'm looking at all these people going out there and challenging this system. They all coming out their pockets. They all got attorneys lined up. They got lobbyists lined up. They got researchers lined up. What the fuck do we have? But I get it. Politics is boring. I get it. Y'all ain't into politics. My bad. Y'all ain't into politics. My bad. Who am I? I should have been talking about the guy, the black anesthesiologist on Facebook Live who murdered his girlfriend who was pregnant and his wife. That's the conversations I should be having because that's the shit that makes you guys happy. I'll probably have that conversation on Instagram, but I ain't gonna have it here. I love y'all. I love y'all for real. Go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, share the video, follow Facebook, me on Facebook, follow me on YouTube. I love every last one of y'all. Have a great day.